News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Ding, ding.
These guys have a lot to say, and they never stop talking.
Well, gonna listen to those two clowns?
I am not a happy camper.
I've had enough of that malarkey.
Don't wreck our show, you hoser.
Live from News Talk 1480 WHBC.
It's a household name.
All right, Dan.
It's Kenny and JT.
Oh, you made a wise choice, my friend.
Have a great show!
Newell's going to launch one from half court. Hits the side of the backboard, and the McKinley Bulldogs with a big win and the 2,000th win in the history of McKinley High School basketball. What a privilege for you and I to be part of this game tonight, and we can put this in our memory banks for years to come.
Yep.
Big night at the field house last night.
Yeah.
And an even bigger day today as we're coming to you live from the corner of 6th and Market in beautiful downtown Canton, Ohio. 33 degrees right now in the heart of the Hall of Fame city.
How about that? The McKinley Bulldogs, their first chance to win their 2000th game, victorious at home at the field house. Dan Belford, good. Denny Kincaid calling the action. You heard it right there. Congratulations to the Bulldogs, 64-59 winners over Hoover last night. First school in the state of Ohio to reach 2,000 wins in boys high school basketball.
Hey, Coach Sean Weatherspoon going to join us in studio tonight at 6 o'clock. And one of the questions I want to ask him is because, anybody that went to McKinley, and I'm one of the happy alumni today, is the fact that you wonder when this really hit, that there would be an opportunity. Even when he took the job a couple of years ago, did you have any idea that you would be on the sideline? I mean, he played there, won a state championship. What's bigger, a state title or 2,000 wins? I mean, it's really remarkable when you think about it.
I heard this earlier this week because of the Super Bowl, right? And anytime the Super Bowl's happening, there are stories about different teams that won this and that and everything else, right? And there was a story about Joe Green and the Steelers. Joe Green was part of the Steel Curtain when they won 4 Super Bowls.
Right.
He was also a defensive line coach for the other 2 wins.
Okay.
He is the only individual, that played on the 70s Steelers and also was a part of the other 2 wins and all 6 wins. And now with Sean Weatherspoon, right, a state champion he played on, and now he coached the 2000th win. So, those are 2 monumental achievements, and he was part of both. So that's going to be very special for him.
Well, you talk about milestones. What comes to mind for me was earlier this season, Coach Creamer over at Central Catholic coached his 500th win. Think about that.
Yeah.
And you think about how many games you probably coached in to get to that number.
Right.
And then you think about a program, and we were talking about it yesterday. It was 1971 where the McKinley program hit their 1,000 mark. And now here we are 55 years later for another 1,000. That's a lot of games.
It's a long time wait for that many, right?
Well, you about 20 games this season, give or take, depending upon how long you go into the tournament. I mean, it's really a remarkable feat.
Yeah, it is. Congratulations, not only to the kids on last night's team and Coach Boone, but to all of the guys who were there for at least one of those victories, right? So you go back, I don't know what the first year was for McKinley boys basketball.
1901, I think they said.
Is that what it was? So anybody that was on that team, probably not with us any longer,
You
right?
think?
Yeah. But anybody from that team to last night's team, if you were a part of one victory, you were a part of all of this getting to 2,000.
Again, one of the other questions I'll ask the coach when he gets here is the fact that when you're growing up in Canton, you all know the names, and those guys bigger, they're larger than life when you're a kid.
Yeah.
I can remember when I was a kid, I was at, and it no longer exists, there was a McDonald's at the corner of Lawrence and Cherry Avenue.
Okay.
And I was there on a Sunday afternoon, and I looked up next to me, and it was Phil Hubbard. Now, I'm a little guy, and Phil Hubbard's about 7-footer, and I'm looking up, and I'm going, man, I mean, that was larger for a kid in Canton than meeting a Cleveland Brown. The Cavaliers were nowhere to be found yet. I mean, they had only started in 1972 anyway. So, I mean, it was larger than life. And again, the argument's going to be, and no disrespect to the football program, this might be considered a basketball school.
What do they have more state championships in, football or basketball?
I'm going to say there are 3 through the tournament in football. I believe it could be the same.
Okay, yeah. So you can make that argument.
Gary Grant, Raymar won 2. Gary Grant's team won 1.
Okay.
Am I missing one? I don't know.
Maybe Sean can clarify that for us. But last night, you look at this, Jamar Keys with 16 points, Ed Webster with 14. Anthony Shavers had 16 to lead the way. They were down at halftime, 26-24. Mm-hmm. They come out the second half at home. They outscore Hoover 40-33 to post the 5-point victory, the 2000th in the history of boys basketball at McKinley.
I go back to what Coach Peters told me a long time ago. He was a longtime assistant at Ohio State and the University of Akron, a product, again, of Central Catholic. And he told me, and this was really, and it had to do more with college athletes than it did high school, but it's got to creep in too. When you win a big game or you're up for a big game, it's hard the following night and or a milestone victory. So, I mean, you had the milestone staring you in the face of, can you put that 0 and change the numbers on the banner at the field house? And then you got to turn around, do it all over again. Practice today. They'll be done at 5:00. Get ready for Massillon on Friday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see their mental toughness, right? The focusness, Jim Thome turn. Mm-hmm. The good thing about it, JT, is this, why they may, be focused. It's Massillon, right? If it's any other team, maybe you're not, okay, yeah, whatever, we'll go out. We just won our 2000. But Massillon has one loss. Yeah. They're considered, Belford said yesterday on this show, they're the best team in Stark County maybe this year. So I think that will help, and we'll ask Coach Witherspoon about this later. That'll help get those guys back up for it because it is their rival.
As much as they own the rivalry in football, the roles are reversed in basketball. I believe Massillon's only went like 49 times against Camp McKinley in hoops. So they're probably looking at this as though this is our year, and we're going to give them what for, because it is McKinley basketball, and we want to show them that we're as good, if not better, this year. So it should be a great game. And again, an emotional victory last night at the Fieldhouse. You don't know what to expect on Friday.
Yeah, we'll see. And that's where the job of a coach really comes in, right? What tricks does Spoon have up his sleeve to make sure these guys are focused and go get 2001 against their rivals? So congratulations again. And Michael in Canton, let's get him on the phone here and get his thoughts on this real quick. And then we'll hear some of the highlights from Dan Belford and Denny Kincaid from last night. Michael, thanks for waiting. Welcome to the show.
Hey, JT. And Kenny, this is Mike Parker from Canton, Ohio.
Hey, what's up, Park?
Mike? Hey, how you doing, JC?
Hi, brother.
Hey, check this out. My son was a starting point guard on the back-to-back starting point guard for those championship teams. And I go way back. Of course, I'm a Trojan, but I go way back with all those guys, Trey Ronnie, Dave Greer, and all those good guys. And there was a lot of battles on Minnesota Park and the summer school playgrounds in the neighborhood that built a lot of those guys' career. And it was a lot of fun. And, all 4 high schools were great times. But congratulations to Coach Spoon and the Bulldogs, and I appreciate you guys for listening to me. Thanks a lot.
You got it. Thanks for checking in.
Ball grew up in the neighborhood, man.
Yeah. Well, what a great way to do it. Your first opportunity, ain't messing around with it, right? We're getting it now. And I'll be curious to see what was said at halftime. They're only down 2, but still you're down at home. Halftime, milestone win. They come out and they outscore them by 7 in the second.
I'm sure you want to get that over with.
Yeah, don't you? Absolutely.
I think so. Because had they beaten Ignatius last week, it could have happened sooner.
Right.
And it's interesting of note, you did it in a Federal League game, really. If it matters. And you beat, I guess, another rival in North Canton Hoover.
It does matter because in my sports report this morning on Canton's Morning News with Pam Cook, I stated this. First time ever, they went 12-0 in the Federal League to win the Federal League outright without a loss in the regular season.
Read that again.
12-0, Federal League, first time ever in school history.
Did you hear that, Jimmy Morehouse, wherever you may be today? Read it one more time. I don't think I heard it properly. Go ahead.
What I was able to find last night on the internet, the McKinley Bulldogs are outright Federal League champions this year, going 12-0.
Beautiful.
First time ever in school history.
For Jimmy Morehouse. Make sure you throw that out.
Let's relive some of the highlights from the monumental win last night with Dan Belford and Denny Kincaid on the call.
Yep. The field house is a rocking. Don't come knocking, folks. Leaning in. Ball tapped out of his hands by Collins, taking it away. Collins, though, has it stolen. Webster, wham! Wide open path off the right side, and Webster slammed it with 2. Ball taken away. Here comes Webster. Wham! A windmill with the left hand. Keys the right side. 3 in. Got it. 40-36, McKinley. Newell now Has it tapped away by Carter. Javion, line lane finish, got it. Picked his pocket and finished at the other end. 53-48. 105 remaining. Shavers to Keys. He wants to launch a three. Good! Connor said, I like the college line too. DeMar bangs one from deep. 60-56 McKinley. Connor Newell in the corner. Three on the way. Hits the side of the backboard with 2 seconds remaining. 64-59. Newell's going to launch one from half court. Hits the side of the backboard. And the McKinley Bulldogs with a big win. And the 2,000th win in the history of McKinley High School basketball. What a privilege for you and I, part of this game tonight, and we can put this in our memory banks for years to come.
Yep.
There you have it. Yep. Denny Kincaid, Dan Belford on the call of that 64-59 win over Hoover for McKinley, the 2,000th in school history.
And I did look it up. There are 3 championships in basketball. It was 84 Gary Grant.
Okay.
05, 06 with Mike Parker's son, Marcus Parker, Raymar Morgan, Todd Brown and company.
All right.
And back-to-back 05, 06. So that rivals what they did in football, which was 81, 97, 98.
Yeah, three. And how about back-to-back in basketball and in football, right? Mm-hmm. So pretty impressive. And congratulations to all the players. Nelson Keys, Cheek, McClellan, Thompson, Webster, Lee, Britt, Chavers, Elder, and Carter. How about that? 11 guys got to be part of that game last night. They played at least a minute in that game last night, according to Denny's stats. And Sean Weatherspoon has to be proud that he got as many guys in as he did, and they got it done on the first try.
Numerous trips to the Final Four, numerous times in the championship game, only to come up empty. And my question to our listeners is going to have to be this, because my earliest recollection of actually watching McKinley basketball would be probably, I mean, I'm old enough to remember the name, but not old enough to remember watching Nick Weatherspoon.
Okay.
Which would be Sean's uncle, and relative. Who else comes to mind? You know, we hear the names. You know, I was in high school with Troy and Ronnie, so obviously I was there for all those games. Gary Grant was playing while we were in college, so really didn't get to see him until he got to Michigan.
Okay.
And then the NBA and a great career with the Clippers. But I want to know from our listeners who they recall. Who was their favorite McKinley basketball? Because it was larger than life at times. David Greer has been mentioned a few times in the last couple of days. And Nate Cooks and a lot of these guys. Kenny, it was backcourt you for a while. And a lot of these guys played, and they could have been even better. Troy Taylor might have been one of the better players to come out of the state, including a LeBron James, had there been a three-point line when he played.
Okay.
He was electric. Full ride scholarship to Ohio State.
Eric Snow has to be mentioned.
Eric Snow's another one.
You got the YMCA here in town named after Eric Snow. And, of course, he went to the finals with Allen Iverson when he was with the 76ers, had some time with the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? So E. Snow, but Phil Hubbard and E. Snow, because, well, they both ended up playing for the Cavaliers at some point, right? So those guys, for me, you know, I remember those names. And others are going to, here's the thing. There are going to be people out there that remember players that didn't make it in the NBA, but they were larger than life when they were in high school, right? That was their favorite play. I'll give you an example. Just when I was a kid growing up in Springdale, Pennsylvania, there was a kid by the name of Kenny Colas. Okay. Maybe because he had the first name as me. And he wasn't all conference or anything, but that was my guy. You know, I wanted to go watch Kenny Colas play. So I'm sure there are others out there that weren't Division I college players or NBA players that people gravitated to because of their style of play or whatever it was.
Another couple of names that come to mind. Obviously, Keith McLeod. We always forget about Keith.
Yeah.
He came back and he coached for a little while. He played in the NBA. And a kid that I coached at Lehman Junior High School in football.
Oh, wow.
Mike Hawkins. Mike Hawkins, I believe he took his team to the state too, came up a little bit short. Outstanding player, played in the NBA after graduating in McKinley in 1991. Mike Hawkins was a baller.
Do you remember one game or one play from when you – is there like a –
I remember the game.
Okay, what?
It was a districts. It was my senior year. Troy and Ronnie are playing at the Civic Center.
Okay.
And it's the 5 overtime. Everybody will tell you about the 5 overtime game.
Okay.
The 5 overtime game was played at the field at the Civic Center. And it was on a night, probably, I want to say a Friday, maybe a Saturday.
Okay.
And I couldn't go because I was working at the Desert Inn.
Busboy.
So get this. So the game is packed, right?
Yeah.
And it's freezing outside because obviously it's in the middle of the winter time and everything else. And all my friends are coming up to the back door. They're knocking on the back door of the Desert Inn. We're busier than heck. Hey, man, you're not going to believe this. What's going on? Oh, we had a radio in the kitchen. And I'm not waiting on the tables because I'm like, here we go again. 1 overtime, 2 overtime, 3 overtime, 5 overtimes. McKinley beats them and then moves on and ends up losing to Wadsworth. And there goes our shot at a title. We were undefeated that year. I believe there were, I want to say we're trying to reach out to Ronnie Stokes. Oh, God, don't bring it up. Because if they were 26-0 and lost to Wadsworth, he'll kill me. To this day. That was 46 years ago.
Dude, you remember the losses unless you win a state title more than you remember the other victories.
Do you remember him telling us a story? They were on a golf trip, and I want to say, who was he getting ready to putt? He was on a golf trip with who's the other big time Buckeye basketball player?
Michael Redd?
No, network TV.
Clark Kellogg.
He's on a golf trip with Clark Kellogg.
Yeah.
And Ronnie's ready to putt. And he's got about I don't know, maybe a 5 or a 10 footer.
Okay.
And he's in his backswing to putt.
Right.
And Kellogg says Wadsworth.
Oh, man.
As the story goes from what I was told. And Ronnie wanted to kill him. Ronnie's the easiest going guy you've ever met in your life. Would never harm a fly. Wanted to kill him.
Oh, man.
Needless to say, I mean, from the story that I was told, he misses the putt. Kellogg and his team go on to win that, whatever it was. Probably like some alumni outing or something.
Got to ask him about that.
No shit. You ask him.
Hey, Ronnie, tell me the story about the putt with Clark Kellogg. Is that true, or is that, urban
He'll
legend?
get mad at me.
Here's how I'll preface it. Hey, JT told me this story about
is
you.
it true? Is it true?
And hopefully, we love you, Ronnie. Hopefully, Ronnie will check in with us today.
You would get him really upset?
Oh, boy, I don't want to go that far.
Tell him this story.
Okay.
Rick Warcell swears
that
Ronnie Stokes used to tell him during the games that he's passing the ball to Troy more often than he is to Ronnie. Ask him that.
Oh, geez.
Don't you tell me anything if you expect me to keep it.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody said, don't tell anybody.
This is on the, you didn't say off the record.
You didn't say off the record. You didn't say not to tell anybody.
So therefore it's fair game.
It might
throw
be
it
true.
out there. Yeah.
It might be true.
330-450-1480. Any McKinley Bulldog fans out there that want to share any type of basketball story the day after McKinley wins their 2000th game, let us know.
I have one memory growing up, and there was a guy named Frank Ridley, and he played for the Bulldogs, and I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know if he played in college. I don't know if he lived in town, but he had a huge afro, and I always wanted to play like Frank Ridley.
Okay.
And his key shot was he would get into the lane, and he would shoot a fadeaway.
Okay.
And we just, for whatever reason, thought it was dunks aren't a big thing back then.
Right.
We thought it was the coolest thing ever, the Frank Ridley fadeaway.
Right. Okay.
And he had a big fro. So every time, I try to grow my hair out, my mom would make me get it cut shorter. Aunt D would cut my hair and cut it real short. I was mad. I wanted a big afro like Frank Ridley.
Frank Ridley.
He was awesome.
Was your guy. Because of the fro. See, my guy was Ken Colas because his name was Ken. Yours was because of the fro.
Yeah.
Throw it to the fro.
Yeah.
Throw to the fro.
Bro to the fro, or whatever it was.
Tim Elkhorn.
Yep.
You mentioned Keith McLeod.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about him because he's a BG guy when Dan Dockich was there, and I was calling games at KNR during the MAC tournament. And, Keith was he was the stuff back in the day in college and, of course, at McKinley, and then went on to play in the pros. And I think those were some of Dockich's best years as a coach.
I think he played at the Mavericks, if I'm not mistaken. And the real claim to fame, you know who his neighbor was, don't you?
Whose neighbor?
McLeod. Guess who his neighbor was?
Kevin.
T. Roop.
Oh, T. Roop.
He was in that neighborhood. We had to ask Keith McLeod if he's got any of those T. Roop stories of him running in the backyard eating those sandwiches. Like a Bigfoot, I tell you.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So what a day, man, for the McKinley Bulldogs. And here's what's unique, and this is how good McKinley is in athletics, JT.
Mm-hmm.
Every year during football season, right, we talk about the top 10 winningest high schools in the country, right? Massillon and McKinley are both top 10. I think Massillon's either 2 or 1 now, and McKinley is 7 or 8. So how about the fact that McKinley has 2,000 career boys basketball wins, the most ever in the state of Ohio, right? And I believe they're one of 3 schools possibly in the entire country with 2,000 or more wins in boys basketball. And McKinley's also in the top 10 most wins in football.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
I knew Valdosta was up there, so it was either Valdosta 1, Massillon 2, or vice versa. It might still be Valdosta, but we know this. When Valdosta came up to Massillon gave them what for?
Yeah, and I think Massillon has either tied them or maybe even surpassed, or they're neck and neck now. Massillon has closed the gap each year, becoming the top high school football victory total team in the country.
Sustainability's got to be the hardest part of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, you consider what we've seen in football, at least here in this city,
right?
In the fact that it had to be harder, you would imagine, when there were 4 high schools, but when there were 4 high schools, you had more kids to pull from. Remember, drive up and down 8th Street one time and look at all the mills that are closed. And then think about what that does to, the number of people that live in the area. The numbers are way down, man.
Yeah.
In the early 80s, there had to be so many people living in this stuff. I'd like to know what the actual numbers were and what they are today.
And then the other part of this that I wish I would have been a part of, I've been here, 12 years now at WHBC, and I've just heard stories. The all-county basketball tournament, where what?
Well, it wasn't the tournament. It was all-city night.
All-city night, where 4 high schools came together and they played. Dude,
insane.
I that's, if there's one regret, right? I've seen the Massillon, McKinley, Massillon game. I've called them. I've watched them, both stadiums and that. I get the history of that. I've been a part of that. I'm thrilled to be a part of that. I wish I would have been able to be a part of the All-City. What could equal that, JT, now?
The movie Hoosiers?
No.
Honestly.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, if you were to try and reboot that, what would it be? Well, McKinley obviously is one. Who would the 4 teams be if you were to do an all-city
If you
night?
wanted to recreate an all-city night, in my opinion, you would go McKinley, Glen Oak, Jackson, Hoover.
Okay.
But you could always rotate it. You could rotate the 4th teamer, every year, since it's McKinley's home court, they host.
Right.
And rotate one of the other teams in the Federal League if you wanted.
Now, would they have to be just Canton limit teams, Kansas City limit?
I would leave it. No, I would leave it Federal League. They're not all in the city of Canton.
What about Central?
I would probably leave it Federal League.
Okay.
Well, I would imagine.
I'm just
because
Canton,
I think you've
Catholic.
got more. The reason I say that is you've got built-in rivalries in the Federal League, whereas I don't know where Central would fit in.
Okay. All right.
Just me.
I mean, Central's a very good basketball school. You mentioned Coach Creamer and the other.
But they weren't involved in an all-city night either. It was just the 4-city school. So, I mean, you could throw them in occasionally if you wanted to.
Right. Rotate 3. How about 3 Federal League schools and then 1 wild card school?
You could rotate that last school every year if you wanted to.
Give somebody else a chance to be a part of that special night. We'll ask Coach Spoon when he comes in about that, because I think that'd be kind of cool, man. And to be able to do that. And the closest thing, I guess, to that atmosphere-wise was the playoffs last year, right? Where you had Perry playing in the playoffs, and you had...
That's what they say.
Yeah, and you had Louisville playing there, right? And so the atmosphere, JT, that's as good an atmosphere for a basketball game, college, pros, NBA, that I've seen, because you're right on top of it, and that old iconic field house was phenomenal.
I don't know how old the field house is, but they've kept it up, and it looks fantastic. And I saw video. I mean, obviously couldn't be there last night. We were still on the air when they got ready to tip off.
Yeah.
Couldn't get there. So, it was one of the matters of, I'm going to get there by halftime. Why go? But the videos that I saw, and kudos to Channel 5 for covering this as well, because I've seen that video online today as well. The field house looks fantastic. And I drove by the Canton McKinley Activity Center. And now with these facilities that Canton City Schools has put together, second to none.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely up there. So looking forward to catching up with Coach Weatherspoon at 6 o'clock today here. You'll be able to listen to that live here on WHBC, and also watch it live on our Facebook channel and our YouTube channel at 6 o'clock. Also joining us today, a couple of the new head football coaches in Stark County. Torrance Carl from Sandy Valley at 4 o'clock. Jake Atkins from Louisville at 5 o'clock. And Sean Weatherspoon at 6 o'clock. We've got you covered. Plus, Sam Amico joins us next from Hoops Wire Down to talk about the red-hot Cleveland Cavaliers.
It's Kenny and JT.